Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to What's the Damage, the good old WTD question mark here on my channel, the longest running segment on this damn channel where I come here and, unleash my rage, my anger, and let you guys know, give you a piece of my mind, out of spiteful rage. Sometimes I just share opinions that are very controversial. Speaking of controversial, I'm sorry about the possible crappy lighting today. It's because, the sky isn't really agreeing with me today. It's very overcast, it's gonna rain, it's a little chilly outside, and I'm also recording at 9 a.m. so of course the lighting is gonna suck so early on. It used to be the opposite, and I would still record videos in the afternoon when the lighting sucked, but still, today's video is actually a remake of an old one, that I did back in 2021, and it's kind of funny because this video and the last one I remade, but it's like in the same order as they were originally. So back when I first made them in What's the Damage, they were also in this order here, but still, I'm recording this video here just for the hell of it, because I'm running out of ideas at this point because I'm close to 900 videos. And also this one is actually a very interesting one to cover. I did talk about it the first time, but I want to address different issues here in this one and also show you guys clips and stuff, so that's going to be really cool to give you a little bit more variety here. Now, in case you guys don't know, I have covered this in many videos before, but just in case you're new here, let's say this is maybe the first video you're ever watching on the Chazzy channel, I am a pretty big fan of horror, usually it's more catered towards cinema. I do like horror movies, but there is sort of like a certain spectrum there, For example, I don't like, slasher movies. I don't do too well with blood, gore, and guts, and a lot of graphic violence, so I do tend to stay away from certain subgenres of horror. But the actual horror genre itself, like psychological suspense and thrillers, sometimes supernatural horror, I do like that kind of thing. I'm a pretty big fan, although it hasn't really been for all of my life. It's actually been quite a few years, maybe, I don't know, half a decade or so, 5 or 6 years, that I started to get into horror movies and give them a chance and watch them. Today I do consider myself a horror aficionado. I do like horror movies, However, there is a different market that I took a while to branch out into, even longer than movies. Just a few years ago, I started to get into horror video games and actually playing them myself. The very first horror game that I can remember, at least, that I ever played was The Evil Within, which was a few years ago. I think it was back, well, I still had my crappy TV, so when did I play that game? I think it was either in 2020 or 2021, but it was recent, I even did a video reviewing it, some time ago over on 8-Bit Chazzy. And so it's kind of like this experience where you go through something and then you open up your eyes to new experiences. You kind of open up your mind a little bit more, which is what happened to me. And the thing is that horror games and horror movies are not the same thing, man, There is a very thin line there between having a cinematic experience where everything is scripted, that you can experience multiple times and know what's going to happen, versus an immersive one that you are actually going through yourself and you don't even know what's going to happen, because even if the horror game is a linear experience, you can still get scared in a variety of different ways because you never know what's going to come at you in the next screen, And there are certain games, the same way there are certain movies, that are so scary and so good at what they do that even when you see the scare coming, it still gets you, For me, it's the Paranormal Activity series, or at least the first movie, which is really freaking hard to watch, Everything else that came afterwards is like a cringe fest, but the first movie was something special, man. The first Paranormal Activity really was something special, and I really do appreciate it for the amazing work of art that it is, That movie is freaking crazy. But still, and same thing with horror games. There are certain games like, for example, Outlast or even Until Dawn, where they are just made so well that even when the scare is coming, it still gets you. You know what's gonna happen, you know when it's gonna happen, you know how it's gonna happen, and yet it still scares you. And now, before I continue, I'm going to illustrate the point by showing you guys a clip here of a random horror game. I still haven't decided, but whatever it is, you guys are gonna see it now, but beware because there might be a jump scare. Now, Now, the best way for you to experience a horror movie is, of course, being inside of it, you know, being one of the characters and being in that universe and going what's going on. No, I'm joking. Of course, it's you being the actor or actress in the lead role, you know, or having, I have never been in a movie myself, but I can imagine that the behind the scenes, you know, doing the movies are still going to be a little scary, even though there's a team of people around you on set, you know, the director with the camera in your face and everybody else, you know, it still must be scary because we are seeing the reactions of genuine terror on screen. So it's not about being a good actor. I'm so sure that there are certain horror movies where they really do scare the crap out of these actors to give us an actual real authentic reaction, you know. Horror games are different, you know. Anybody can pick up a controller and play a horror video game, you know, so you can have that immersive experience without having to be an actor in the actual movie itself, you know. And there are games that are downright just disturbing, man, you know. The Evil Within is just, I still haven't built up the courage to play the sequel, which everybody says is not as scary as the original, but even so, the first one just, it didn't exactly scar or traumatize me, but it did have a lasting effect that I can't deny. I did actually have a nightmare, you know, about one of the, let's call her an antagonist, because, well, she's actually kind of an anti-hero because she's the victim, but she also is trying to kill you in the game, you know, Laura. If you've played the game, you know I'm talking about, the girl who died on a fire and then she came back as like this weird, writhing, maniacal, half spider, half human hybrid, and it was freaking crazy. And she scared me, man. It took me like a week or so to beat that level, not because I sucked, you know, but because I got scared. I kept having to stop before I had a heart attack, and I had a nightmare about her one night, you know, she was coming after me. So games can have just as lasting an effect on somebody as movies, you know, but I still think that horror games are even worse than movies, you know, not because they're bad, but because they are more effective, you know. They really get the point across. They get the scare across. The message is loud and clear when you're playing a game. That's why this video isn't What's the Damage. You know, it's not a complaint or a rant, but it is something very negative that I think has very bad effects on somebody if you don't do it correctly, you know. Because if you're the kind of person who loves playing horror games and that's all you play over and over and over again, like Markiplier, for example, one of my favorite, if not my favorite gaming YouTuber on the platform, you know, I have no idea how this guy functions normally in life and how maybe he probably has a lot of nightmares, you know, because he like, let's say that 80 to 85% of his content over there is horror, you know. So I mean, yes, it's funny for us, the viewers, and that's why he does it, you know. I'm pretty sure he doesn't do it to be a brave macho or something. He does it because he wants to entertain us, you know. And seeing other people get scared, you know, is better and kind of softens the blow a little bit, you know. After watching a lot of YouTubers playing Until Dawn and Man of Medan, it kind of made me want to play as well, and it didn't really feel as scary because I was just going through it like commentary, like they do themselves, you know. But Man of Medan isn't really as bad, you know, as, for example, The Evil Within or Outlast or, I don't know, Fatal Frame or Silent Hill. And even the Resident Evil games can be billed as horror, you know, and Dead Space too. But then again, you're armed in those games, you know. You have weapons. You can attack and kill the enemies coming at you. In Outlast, for example, the only thing you have is a stupid camera. And whenever something comes at you, the only thing you can do is run and hide and hope that they don't find you. Just like Alien Isolation, another really good example, you know. And there is this new horror game called Visage, you know, it was on Xbox Game Pass some time ago and it got taken out. I think it's very similar to Layers of Fear, where you're exploring what I believe is a haunted house, you know, a really big sprawling mansion, you know, with many nooks and crannies and dark corridors and rooms, and there's a ghost trying to kill you. One of the most notorious horror games ever is PT, which is Playable Teaser, which was going to be the Silent Hill game that was canceled, you know. This thing blew up on the internet. Every YouTuber was playing it, you know, and it's unavailable now in the Play Store, so to play that you actually have to buy a PlayStation console with the game already installed on it, you know. This game, to me, even though it's just an endless loop of you going through a corridor and a door over and over again, this game to me is much more effective at the scares than any other horror movie that I've seen anywhere near it, you know. Because like I said, horror movies are scripted. This game is not, you know. It is procedurally generated, and you can trigger different events to happen depending on what you do or don't do in the game, man. And that to me is just horrifying. That is terrifying on so many levels. I mean, just try to imagine for a second you being in that context there in real life, you know. You're kind of going through this, you know, this Groundhog Day thing where you're reliving the same day over and over again, but it's just the same moment. If you've seen videos of PT, you know, you go through a corridor and you turn the corner and then the room starts to change, you know, the radio might say something differently, there might be a different lighting, you might hear a different noise or see a different, you know, figure moving by, you know, and then you go through the door at the end of the hallway and it's the same thing again, you know. It's freaking freaking crazy, man, you know? And like, just to illustrate the point a little bit better, I think I'm gonna show you guys a video here of PT, you know, or maybe another game, but hopefully I can get at least a little small snippet of PT here without any copyright issues, just to show you guys what I'm talking about.
His 6-year-old daughter had the good sense to hide in the bathroom.
Still terrifies me now, man. It's freaking crazy. Just watching that is insane. Even when I see YouTubers that I like playing it, you know, and getting scared and stuff, it still is freaking hard, man. It's hard to watch, you know, because like I said before, when you're watching a horror movie, everything is scripted. Even when you go through it once, you know, you already know what's gonna happen. If you're watching a horror movie for the first time, yes, you can expect a few scares, even if every trope and cliche has been done already. So it's really hard for a horror movie to scare me. I will, of course, get caught by the cheap ones, like the audio-based jump scares or something. No, that's always gonna get me. It's always gonna get everybody, but it's not a scare. It's cheap, you know. It's just to fabricate fear and make you jump, you know, which is okay for the adrenaline to get the blood pumping, you know, but it's different because once you watch a movie with a bunch of jump scares, you know, they're not gonna work on you anymore because you've already seen them, you know. You already know what's gonna happen. So it's really hard to create new experiences because you already know what's going to happen, you know. There are many jump scares that are telegraphed, you know when they're gonna come and how they're gonna come. Sometimes a director will try to do something out of the box and give you a different scare altogether, but still, in general, they are very predictable. It's not hard to know when a jump scare is coming, you know, so there's really no suspense at all nowadays in movies. But games are different, man. Games are different because you're actually there, you know. Imagine, for example, the movie The Conjuring, right? Any of the Conjurings, any of the Annabelles, but let's take the first one because I think it was the best one, you know, in the entire franchise. So imagine being in The Conjuring and actually able to interact with the characters and go through the experiences and seeing this stuff happen at night, you know? That's what a horror game is like. It's you being the character there, and everything that happens in the movie is going to happen to you. When you're a character in a horror video game, whatever bad thing is going down is going to happen to you or in front of you. It's going to happen to somebody else, you know. You're going to play through the game knowing that something is coming for you and it's gonna get you, you know. Sometimes when you have the option of fighting back, it kind of takes away the tension because you know that you can actually put up a fight, you know. But still, man, when it's a game like Outlast, when you literally cannot fight back, that's what makes it scary, you know. I believe there was another game that was, I don't know if it ever got fleshed out into a PC game or if it was just a demo, but there was this thing inspired by PT which was called Allison Road. I saw gameplay of it when it came out on YouTube, and it was crazy, man. Even though there was just one scary thing at the very end of it, the entire game up until that point was building up a very scary atmosphere that was really hard to swallow, you know, because you were dreading something happening constantly every single minute, and then it eventually finally did, you know. I would have loved to play that, or okay, let me rephrase that. I would have loved to watch a YouTuber play it. Yes, I probably, because whenever I want to play a horror game, usually I try to watch a YouTuber play it first to see how it is, you know. Even though I know I'm gonna give myself spoilers and stuff, I don't care. It just makes me feel better as a human being. Okay, I don't want to die and have a damn heart attack while I'm playing a stupid game, man, you know. But still, horror games are very effective, you know. The scares are multiplied because you're the one going through the experience, you know. So it's going to have a much stronger psychological effect on it, at least in my opinion. And before I wrap this video up, I'm going to show you just one more clip here from yet another horror video game, possibly one that's much more recent, you know. But it's not going to be something as sucky as the Blair Witch, for example, because that game is just horrible. Let's take a look here.
What do we do when we fail? We start over. Yes, that's it. Perfection. What the? Give me that! Hey! Oh, shut up!
You deserve this.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that is the final clip here to give you nightmares, you know? And if you're going to make a horror game as a developer, you have to know the audience. You have to watch horror movies to get inspiration. You cannot make a game that's crappy like Blair Witch, for example, you know? There are many horror games that are terrible, you know, that just come off as so cringy, you know? The Friday the 13th franchise, you know, is riddled with many iconic moments of Jason killing people with his machete, but the video game based on that was so terrible, freaking online multiplayer, and nothing else made any sense. It sucked so bad, you know? That's what I'm saying, man. You gotta know your audience. You gotta know how to connect with them, you know? You have to know how to hit them with all the... You can't use too many tropes and cliches, although they are fun. Until Dawn and Man of Medan, you know? Those kinds of games where you can actually, you know, interact with the characters with dialogue options and kind of, you know, make the story, mold the story in a way that you want to play, you know? Those are very effective because you can actually bend the narrative in a way that's going to favor you, you know, but still there are plenty of scares, and Until Dawn is a very good example of using the cliches and tropes correctly, you know. I'm sorry about the random cut there. It's because I had a phone call and I had to cut the video short, you know. But yes, Until Dawn, very good example of a game, you know. Different dialogue options to make the story, you know, move in your own way. I gotta get going, guys, because my dad is coming to pick me up to go to my mom's party, you know. So I'm gonna end it here. If you guys happen to, let me know in the comments below what you think. And if you happen to like this video, please go ahead and give it a like. And also subscribe to my channel because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell too to know exactly what time I upload. And it's all good, baby. It's all good. I gotta go because he's coming. And that's it, guys. This is Chazzy signing out for now. I'm sorry for rushing out, but maybe I'll cover this later. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the outro screen. I gotta get going because holy crap, this is just some BS right here.